Okay, subtopic 10.3, which is on sound intensity. So in this subtopic, you should be able to define and use sound intensity, and lastly discuss the dependence of intensity on amplitude and distance from a point source by using graphical illustrations. Okay, so sound intensity is defined as the rate of sound of energy flow across a unit area perpendicular to the direction of the sound propagation. Okay, so mathematically it is written as shown here. Okay, so I is known as the intensity, P is the average power, and R is the distance from point source. Okay, so the SI unit untuk sound intensity is watt per square meter, and then there are two factors that influence the intensity of a sound, which is the first one is the amplitude of the sound. So the greater the amplitude of the sound, the greater the intensity will be. And then if the distance from the source of sound is further away, less intensity of the sound can be heard by the people lah yang dalam tu bilik. Okay, so therefore we can then conclude that the intensity is directly proportional to the amplitude of the sound, but indirectly proportional to the square of distance from the source of sound. Okay, so let's try to consider 2 points at distances of R1 and R2. Okay, so basically based on this, we can actually know that the intensity from the source up till point R1 is greater than the intensity at point R2. Why? Because again, the intensity is indirectly proportional to the distance. Okay, so basically the greater the distance from the source, the larger the area is being covered, which causes a given amount of sound energy to be spreaded. So a lower intensity of sound can be heard as it goes further away from the source. Okay, boleh ya? And then what else? So when the source moves towards the observer, okay, the distance will decrease, right? So when the distance is decreasing, the intensity of the sound will increase. So loudness is increasing lah. Macam kamu letak telinga kamu di speaker, kalau di sebelah kuat lah kan. Kalau kamu letak sana ujung dunia, mana dengar apa-apa. Okay, begitu je lah dia punya konsep. Okay, and then these are the variation of sound intensity graphs. If you are able to memorize this, that'll be great, because sometimes in exam they will ask you to draw a graph, sketch a graph of certain situation macam tu lah. Okay, so this is just basically telling us that the sound intensity is inversely proportional to the square of distance between them. I mean, the square of distance between the source and the observer. Okay, and then intensity is, however, directly proportional to I1 over R square, and then intensity is also directly proportional to the amplitude, and then I is apa ni nama dia, is still proportional to the amplitude lah. This one is for square root punya graph, I think. I'm not sure. Okay, but that is basically the theory part for sound intensity. This